It all started with a dinner, but not just any dinner. This wasn't one of those routine political gatherings, or a simple social meetup with steak and wine. No cameras, no press releases. Just a quiet night at Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's luxury Florida estate, where the real stories begin behind closed doors. But this night, this dinner, it would soon become one of the most whispered about, joked about, and debated stories in both political and entertainment circles. It was the kind of night where the setting felt too calm for what was really going on. Palm trees swayed gently outside. Expensive wine was poured. Secret Service patrolled the perimeter. And in a gold-lit dining room, two powerful men sat at a private table. One of them, Donald J. Trump, needs no introduction. Former President of the United States, billionaire, reality TV, mogul-turned-political firebrand. Love him or hate him, the man has mastered the art of staying in the spotlight. Across the table, Kid Rock, a wild card in the music industry and politics alike. A rock and roll outlaw known for his raw lyrics, rowdy concerts, and unapologetic patriotism. Kid Rock had been one of Trump's most vocal celebrity supporters. But this dinner wasn't just about old friendships. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Bill Maher, comedian, TV host, political commentator, wasn't even there. But somehow, he knew everything that went down. That's right. A few weeks after the dinner, Maher took to his podcast and dropped what many are calling a bombshell. He didn't just gossip, he revealed. What Maher exposed was shocking not because of what was eaten or who clinked glasses. It was shocking because of the conversation that unfolded behind those lavish Mar-a-Lago doors. According to Maher, this was no casual hangout. This was not a lighthearted dinner between old buddies. Instead, it was a calculated, strategic, and highly charged meeting. And the topic? It wasn't 2024. It wasn't policy. It wasn't about winning back votes. It was about something much deeper and far more dangerous. Culture, influence, media control. This dinner, Maher claims, was the beginning of something much bigger than a campaign. It was the beginning of a movement, a plan to reshape how the American public receives its information and who controls that narrative. And what makes it even more intriguing? Maher, who is no friend of Trump, delivered this scoop not with sarcasm but with a warning. So the real question is, who talked? Who was in that room and leaked the details to Maher? And more importantly, why? One thing's for sure. This wasn't just a dinner. It was the first step in a bold, behind-the-scenes mission, and thanks to Bill Maher, the world is now paying attention. So who exactly was at this mysterious dinner that later caused such a stir? Let's break it down. At the center of it all sat Donald J. Trump, the former president who had left the White House but never left the headlines. Since his exit from office, Trump had made Mar-a-Lago his command center, a fortress of marble, gold, and power. He wasn't just relaxing. He was plotting, watching, and waiting. And that night he handpicked his guests carefully. One of the first to arrive was none other than Kid Rock, the outspoken rock star known for his "don't care" attitude and politically charged statements. Kid Rock had long been a Trump ally. Their bromance had started years ago with golf games, White House selfies, and viral moments that drove the media wild. But why invite Kid Rock to this exclusive dinner? Because Kid Rock wasn't just a celebrity. He was a symbol. A voice that resonated with a certain slice of America, working class, rebellious and tired of political correctness. For Trump, Kid Rock wasn't just a guest. He was ammunition. But the table wasn't set for just two. Also present, according to whispers and leaks, were several unidentified political insiders, people whose names didn't make the guest list public, but whose influence was undeniable. Think media executives who control the flow of conservative news, social media experts who shape narratives and engineer virality, maybe even a potential VP pick or two testing the waters in private. The dinner was tight-knit. No cell phones, no recording devices, no outside staff allowed in during certain parts. It was the kind of gathering where people didn't just talk, they plotted. And while most media might speculate about the wine and the Wagyu beef, the real menu item that night was strategy. The food? Luxurious, of course. Rumors say filet mignon, lobster tails, truffle risotto, and a vintage Cabernet Sauvignon filled the table. But according to Bill Maher's later podcast, the real main course was the conversation. And that's what made the night unforgettable. Someone at that table, one of the trusted few, leaked the details to Maher, a dangerous move, considering the stakes. Because what was said during that candlelit dinner wasn't just casual political chatter. It was the blueprint for something much larger. And the moment Maher dropped those details on air, everything changed. But this raises the biggest question of all. Who broke the silence? Who in that room risked everything to feed the story to Maher? Was it a disillusioned insider? A friend turned leaker? Or someone who wanted the public to know just how bold Trump's next move might be? Whoever it was, one thing's clear. That dinner wasn't just a reunion. It was a war room disguised as fine dining, and thanks to that one whisper in the dark, the world knows what really happened. A few quiet weeks passed after the private dinner at Mar-a-Lago. No press release, no leaks, just silence. But behind that silence, something was brewing. Then, out of nowhere, came the moment that shook everyone. Bill Maher, one of America's most controversial and sharp-tongued comedians, was back in his podcast studio. Known for mocking politicians, exposing hypocrisy, and diving into uncomfortable truths, Maher had something serious to say this time. And without warning, he dropped the line that grabbed everyone's attention. "You know what I heard about Trump's dinner with Kid Rock?" Silence. Even Maher's regular viewers leaned closer to their screens. You could hear a pin drop. This wasn't one of Maher's sarcastic jokes. This was something real, something that had never been meant to come out. According to Maher, that dinner wasn't just two buddies sharing laughs over steak and wine. It was far more calculated. It was a strategy session, but not the kind you'd expect. It wasn't about the 2024 election, not about campaigning or political fundraising. No, it was bigger than that. It was a media plan, a blueprint for the next wave in the ongoing culture war. Maher revealed that Trump pitched an idea to Kid Rock, a bold, aggressive move. A brand new show, a show where Donald Trump would be the host. Think of it like Trump TV, an uncensored platform where he could speak directly to his audience, invite celebrity guests, attack his opponents, and completely bypass mainstream media. And guess who he wanted as part of the show? Kid Rock. The rock star didn't just support the idea, he loved it. Maher quoted him saying, "Hell yeah, let's make it real." But here's the real kicker. Trump reportedly asked Kid Rock to write a theme song for the show. Not just any jingle, something loud, bold, and viral. A patriotic anthem that conservative audiences would blast from trucks, use in videos, and sing at rallies. A new soundtrack for the movement. Maher couldn't help but chuckle at the whole thing. It sounded absurd, like something out of a satirical movie. But then his smile faded. His tone shifted. He looked straight at the camera and said, "You may think this is a joke, but this man knows how to play the media better than anyone." That's when it hit everyone watching. This wasn't just Trump being Trump. This was a plan to reshape how Americans consume information, who controls the story, and who gets heard. In Maher's eyes, Trump wasn't just planning a return to politics. He was building a media empire, one that could change the game forever. So far, the dinner at Mar-a-Lago sounded intriguing, maybe even bold. But it was what came next that truly turned heads, raised eyebrows, and sparked real concern across political and media circles. According to Bill Maher, the conversation at that table didn't stay lighthearted for long. The mood shifted. The tone got heavier. As Maher described it, Trump became intense, almost like a military commander, giving a pre-battle speech, not about foreign wars, but about something more modern and arguably more dangerous, the war for attention. Trump wasn't just reminiscing about past campaigns or floating what-ifs for 2024. No, this wasn't a maybe I'll run again moment. This was different. Maher claimed Trump leaned in and said something that sent a chill down his source's spine. "They stole the narrative from us. We take it back, through content, through culture, through voices like kids, not just politics. I want the airwaves. I want the airwaves." That line hit hard. It wasn't about ballots, it was about broadcasts. It wasn't about polls, it was about power over perception. Trump reportedly laid out a plan to launch his own streaming service, a digital empire where he wouldn't have to deal with the filters of CNN, MSNBC, or even Fox News. No more interruptions. No spin, no fact-checkers. Just Trump, raw, direct, and unfiltered. He envisioned a platform where he would be the anchor. He would set the tone. He would decide who gets heard and who gets shut out. And it wouldn't be boring. Maher claimed Kid Rock offered to join in fully, performing live, hosting celebrity guests, even roasting liberal figures in comedy sketches and musical parodies. Someone at the dinner reportedly suggested a wild segment idea called Fake News Smackdown. The format: Trump goes head-to-head with clips from CNN or MSNBC, mocking anchors, debunking headlines, and firing back live, unscripted and on his terms. It sounded part talk show, part WWE, part culture war theater. And for their audience, pure gold. The room was buzzing. Maher described it like a cross between a rock concert and a political war room. It wasn't a campaign rally. It was content creation at a presidential level. And then Maher looked straight into the camera and gave his audience one of his most serious warnings yet. This man doesn't need the White House to run the show. He is the show. Those words stuck, because he was right. Trump's influence doesn't begin or end with elections. He understands the battlefield has changed. From ballots to broadcasts, from votes to views, from rallies to retweets. And this dinner? According to Maher, it wasn't just dinner. It was the launch pad for a media revolution. So, what does all this really mean? Why should we care about a private dinner between Donald Trump and Kid Rock at Mar-a-Lago? Well, if Bill Maher's account is even partially true, then this dinner wasn't just a social evening. It was the beginning of something much bigger than a political comeback. It was the blueprint for a full-scale content takeover. Let's look at the bigger picture. Donald Trump has always been more than a politician. Long before he entered the White House, he was a TV star, a brand, and a master at commanding attention. He knows how the media works, and more importantly, how to use it. So when he talks about taking back the narrative, he's not just talking about debates or press conferences. He's talking about creating an entire media ecosystem where he's the center of gravity, where he doesn't just react to the news, he creates it. Imagine this. A 24/7 Trump-led streaming platform, Kid Rock writing the anthem, famous conservative voices hosting shows, roast of mainstream media, live events, reaction segments, and viral skits targeting the elite, a blend of politics, music, entertainment, and raw personality, unfiltered, unapologetic, and unstoppable. This would be more than a TV channel. It would be a cultural machine, a platform designed to bypass traditional gatekeepers and speak directly to millions of viewers who feel ignored or misrepresented by the mainstream. And here's the kicker. It works. Trump's rallies weren't just political speeches. They were shows. His tweets, headlines. His sound bites, viral gold. Now imagine that same energy, but running 24/7 on a platform he controls completely. Bill Maher may have delivered the story with a touch of irony, but his message was clear. Don't underestimate Trump. Whether or not he runs for office again, he's building something that could reshape American media and possibly even influence future elections without stepping back into politics directly. Think about it. What if Trump doesn't need the White House to be in charge? What if the real power isn't in the Oval Office, but in the algorithm? And that's what makes this dinner so important. It wasn't about policy. It wasn't about steak and cigars. It was about power, perception, and preparation, a behind-the-scenes move in a much larger game. Final thought used for YouTube outro. So, was it just dinner? Or the first step in Trump's biggest comeback yet? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because this story is far from over.